Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Spider-Man Far From Home Disney Store exclusive Marvel Select Spider-Man, and we're gonna jump right into it, starting with this big, huge, crazy packaging. It's the same packaging the Marvel Select has been using for like 20 years or something crazy like that. It does look kind of cool. I like the way the figure looks in there. I like the design and all that cool stuff, but it's just big, it's a waste, it's not collector friendly. But the figure looks nice in there. You can see his accessories, the Disney Store exclusive logos down here, Spider-Man logo. On the side, we get a shot of Spider-Man himself. On the back, we get a look at Spider-Man, the Union Jack flag, and that's about it. Usually, with Diamond Select figures, it tells us who sculpted it. I don't see that on here. It was probably Gentle Giant or somebody like that. Let's see if I can find it. No, I don't see it in there. That kind of sucks. I like when they include that information. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to find out, see who sculpted this. I would guess that it was Gentle Giant. They do a lot of stuff for Marvel Select. But anyways, I am excited to check this guy out. So let's open it up and take a look at the figure. So before we get up close and personal with Spider-Man, I just wanted to give you a good look of how the figure looked overall, because this thing is really nice. It looks incredible. Diamond Select did a really nice job with the sculpt and everything. A lot of times Diamond Select gets a lot of hate because of the proportions on Spider-Man figures. Sometimes the torsos look too long, the legs look too short, but none of that is the case here. The figure just looks really nice just standing there. I love this costume design for Peter Parker. I love the black and the red. It kind of reminds me of that old Marvel Legends Spider-Man. I believe it was called the First Appearance Spider-Man. I'm not 100% sure, but it was black and red too, and I've always liked that figure. This design and this figure kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, I'm just really impressed with the way this figure looks. He looks so nice. So, taking a closer look at Spidey here, I think this figure is very well done. I love the line work on the figure. It looks very clean and nice, and the lines aren't just painted on, they're actually sculpted, but the sculpt work isn't like super deep and awkward looking, so they did a really nice job with it. The eyes look pretty good, and then going down here into the body, it all looks really nice. The lines kind of have that double lined effect, kind of how the Homecoming Spider-Man had. So that's kind of interesting, but yeah, that carried over to this figure, so that's okay. And then we have the spider logo that looks really nice. I love the spider logo with the white outline. It makes it stand out. It looks different. It's really cool. And then check out the black parts on the figure here. You can see that there's like texture. It looks like an actual costume, not just like you know, flat plastic painted black. So that looks really good. Down in here, we have like the waist area that looks fine. It's all clean. Once again, all these lines are all sculpted throughout the body, not just the head. Let's see what we have going on for the arms. We have that textured look on the black part. Let's see here. Does he have web shooters? Yeah, he does. He looks like he has a web shooter going there, but it's very small. But yeah, the figure looks really good. All the joints are very nice. Nothing stands out. Nothing's too ugly. He's got these hips that are a huge improvement over previous hips that Marvel Select figures have used. We got some more sculpted lines down here, some more texture in the black. Yeah, it's a really good looking figure. I'm very impressed with this guy. And for accessories, he has a couple of cool things. First off, he has 4 different sets of hands, starting with a pair of fists, and then he has a set of open hands, and then he has a set of thwip hands, and then finally he has a set of gripping hands, but he doesn't come with anything to grip. And switching out the hands is very easy because it's just your standard peg, so the hand comes right out. But you have to be careful because these pegs are a little long, and as you could see on my fist, I actually broke mine. So I had it in there and it was sticking out a little bit, and I tried to press it all the way down and it just snapped, and the peg was actually stuck in the forearm there, and I had to dig it out, and it kind of sucked, but I got it out. And then I was kind of like, oh, well, you know, that sucks, but he has extra hands, so, you know, it's not a big deal. It's my fault, whatever. But then it turned out I put the fist back into the arm, and it stays there because there's actually little notches on the peg. So, you know, with this one, if I move it around too much, it's obviously going to fall out. But I could stick it in there. I could display it. It's not going to fall out. You know, I can move it around. I could even articulate it. So, you know, it's my fault for being too rough with it, but it worked out just fine. I would say just be very careful because the pegs are a little long. And the final accessory that he has is this big old Union Jack flag. Look how long the flagpole is. I can't even get it into the camera here, but it's super long. It's pretty cool. The flag itself actually has like bendy wire in it, so you could pose it. And I think that's a cool accessory. I would have preferred that he would have come with an unmasked head or maybe like some drones or something, but I think this is cool. It's kind of different. I'll probably use it to I'll probably use it as a display piece to go along with like Captain Britain and Union Jack and all those kind of guys. I think that'd be kind of cool. So now for some size comparisons, we have the Marvel Select Far From Home Spider-Man alongside the Marvel Select Homecoming Spider-Man and Marvel Select Infinity War Spider-Man. And as you can see, the Homecoming version and the Far From Home version are pretty much the same size, but the Infinity War one looks a little bit smaller. It's not crazy noticeable, but when you have them side to side, there's definitely a slight difference. And I really like that this new Far From Home Spider-Man uses the same articulation setup as the Infinity War Spider-Man, because I think Marvel Select did a really good job on that one. And then next up we have Spider-Man alongside the Marvel Select Infinity War Captain America and Infinity War Iron Man. I forget what mark it is, but I do think Spider-Man looks pretty cool next to them. And next up, we have him alongside the Marvel Legends Endgame Captain America and the Marvel Legends Mark 85 Iron Man, I believe, from Avengers Endgame. And then next, we have him alongside the NECA DC vs. Dark Horse Superman and Armored Batman, I guess we'll call him. And then here we have him next to the Marvel Select Spectacular Spider-Man and the NECA movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael. And I don't necessarily think this Spider-Man works as a comic book Spider-Man, but just in case you're considering that, here's a look at him next to the Marvel Select Venom and Marvel Select Lizard. And the articulation on this figure is actually really good. I think that Marvel Select is getting better and better as the years go by, and it seems like every time they make like an advancement in their articulation setup, it's always with the Spider-Man figure. And I don't know if they've done anything new and different on this figure. I think a lot of the advancements they made were done on that Infinity War armored Spider-Man, and I like what they did there, and they carried a lot of the good stuff from that figure onto this. So I am very happy with the articulation on this guy. So let's get into it. Starting off with the head, it does move side to side. It's a little bit tight, but it moves side to side. Then he has a little bit of tilt to it, so you could get some attitude in there, so that's awesome. It can't really look up too much. It only looks up to about right there, looks down to right there. And then for the torso, he has a mid-torso cut, and then you also have a lot of movement at the waist here. So I really like what they did with the torso, and it actually gets a decent amount of crunch, unlike a lot of other Marvel Select figures. So that is really nice. I was very happy to see that, because it always makes me nervous whenever a Marvel Select figure comes out and I see a joint like this, because a lot of times it'll have the cut, but it won't have any movement. In this case, there's some really great movement, so I'm very happy about that. Then we get some side to side. Yeah, I really like this torso setup. I wish more action figure lines would do it like this. I would like to see Marvel Legends start to do it like this more. And it would be a bonus if they could add a ab crunch, you know, that'd be cool. But as is, I like this a lot. So I'm happy with this torso articulation. You could kind of move it around like that. Good stuff. Look at that. And then for the arms, he has ball jointed shoulders that do go all the way around. They come out to the side. They're a little tight, but they do come out to the side. There's upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. They get a really nice bend going. Swivel at the wrist, hinge at the wrist. And while we're talking about the hands, most of the hands have like the traditional type of hinge, but the gripping hands have that vertical type of hinge, very similar to like Deathstroke or other Marvel Legends figures that have like gun holding hands. They always have this type of joint, so that's cool. I like that. And then for the legs, I really like what they did here, because Marvel Select often uses that other weird type of joint setup for the hips, and it doesn't look very good. A lot of times it works okay, but I just don't like the way it looks. In this case, they have very nice hip joints, and they are pretty functional. So they can come out to the side to about right there. They can't really come back too much, but you know, that's not a big deal. They could go forward, let's see, to about right there, which is okay. But when it comes to these hips, you have to be careful, because the more you move them, you get a little bit of like rub right there. And for some reason, even though it looks like this is all black plastic, as this rubs against here, you could actually see red in there. So that's kind of goofy, but I did notice that a few times. I hit it with the Sharpie and then it was fine. But yeah, these hips are cool, and you could get his legs way up to right here and out to the side. So I like these. And then he has the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, no lower leg swivel, but he does have a rocking foot. They could come out to the front like that, come up like that. So yeah, in the end, he has a really nice articulation setup, and a lot of it works really good. You could definitely get him into some really cool poses. He's a lot more posable than previous Marvel Select Spider-Man figures, so I am happy about that. And I do wish the head had a little bit more movement. I wish you could look up just a little bit more. I think that would be awesome. But just as is, I'm pretty happy with it, man. Look at that. You could get him into some cool poses. And you know, it's not as easy to pose Diamond Select figures, because the plastic kind of just feels a little weird in comparison to some other lines. It feels like a little rigid, you know, and the more you pose it, the looser things get. Like his arm is kind of getting loose already on me, but you know, it's not horrible. It's not like it's flopping around, but yeah, I think the articulation's good, man, and this is a really fun figure to pose and mess around with, so I'm happy with that. So overall, I like this figure a lot. I think that Marvel Select did a really good job with it. I love the way the figure looks. I think the articulation is pretty damn good, especially for a Marvel Select figure, because I know that Marvel Select doesn't necessarily specialize in articulation. So in this case, I think they did a really good job with it. I think the accessories are okay, but I do wish that he came with some Mysterio drones instead of, I mean, actually, I like the flag, and I know the multiple hands are a must, but I don't know, I think I would have preferred the drones over the flag, only because I don't really feel like they're ever going to give us a Marvel Select movie Mysterio figure, especially this far away from the movie. So it would have been cool if he came with something that he could fight. But, you know, I do like the flag, and the hands are awesome. So the accessories are okay, but I just wish they were a little bit different. But as far as the figure itself, I think it's very well done. The articulation is very nice, even though it's not always like the easiest thing to deal with, you know. It's not super easy to get him into the best poses, but with some work, you could definitely make it happen. It's not going to be as easy or as fluid as like an import figure, obviously, but you know, for the most part, I think the articulation is pretty nice, and with some work, you could definitely get him into some pretty cool poses. I'm probably not doing a good job of showing that off here, but yeah, like I said, he's a cool figure, and I'm very happy to have him. And just in case you're not aware, he is a Disney Store exclusive, so you're going to have to pick him up at your local Disney store or online. And you know, I know that sucks for some people because not everyone has a Disney store around the corner from them, but a lot of times these Marvel Select figures kind of go into stores in large numbers, and then they pretty much get clearanced out on the website, so they become pretty available and pretty easy to get. So hopefully if you want this figure, you're able to pick him up, and I suggest grabbing him because he's a really nice figure. Like I said, he's probably the best Marvel Select Spider-Man figure, and I would love to see Marvel Select revisit the classic comic book Spider-Man with this updated articulation. I think they would make a really nice classic Spider-Man. Hopefully they do that one day. They've done two, and neither one of them, well, actually the first one is kind of bad, but the second one is actually pretty nice. But yeah, I think they could do better. But anyways, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. And oh, just real quick before I leave from here, I do want to say thank you to everybody that commented on my last video talking about the changes on YouTube. There was so many positive comments and so much positive energy, and I just really appreciate it, because YouTube could get crazy. I was mentioning stuff on there that I was kind of, I don't want to say scared to talk about, but I was a little hesitant, you know, because when you start talking about Patreon and money and all that craziness, you know, people could get disrespectful when they want to get their opinions across about that stuff. So I was kind of thinking like, you know, I was going to piss people off and stuff, but you know, I didn't. Everybody was super respectful and positive in that comment section, and just talking about like, you know, just being optimistic. A lot of people were very optimistic, talking like positively about the future and looking into different other things, and you know, encouraging me as a creator, saying that they would follow me to these other platforms and that they would follow other action figure review guys like myself to other channels. And that is just awesome. It's so cool to see that there's a lot of support for the creators. That's super dope. But anyways, I just want to say thank you to everybody that participated in that conversation on that last video. That was over on YouTube, but hopefully you're watching this on Vimeo, because like I said, I feel like that's where we're going to be going in the future. But anyways, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, or not like, oh wait, yeah, I think you could like, I think you could like on this, but you could definitely comment. So be sure to comment and be sure to follow here on Vimeo. Thank you very much. Peace.